want to remind you of a story. It's about you. A long time ago, you participated in a race competing against hundreds of millions in the most hostile environment imaginable, and despite all of the odds, you won. And ever since then, you have always been that winner. We exist. We are born, live, and die. This is the fate of all life. Nothing can escape fate. Just like the hands on a moving clock, we are propelled forward through fate and into the fortune that we measure throughout our lifetime. But how do we master our fate and fortune, you may wonder? Some may believe that we are merely cogs in an endlessly cruel machine, destined to be someone or something that we are not, living a life that we never chose for ourselves. But we are free. Free to love, free to hurt, free to make mistakes, free to learn, free to live, free to be ourselves. We are free to do with ourselves as we choose, using what little time we have to experience all that we are. We are the moment happening right now, experienced by the self. We are not our past or our story. We are not our fears and worries of the future. We are not what has been done to us. We are not what we have done. We are not what we have or hope to achieve. We are not what we have been taught we need to be or should want to be to survive in a seemingly cold world. We are spiritual beings sharing human experiences, separated only by the limits of our personal consciousness as we experience our individual fate and fortune. But regardless of our own fate and fortune, our will to choose will always be free.
For more content like this, please like, follow, and subscribe on your favorite social media platforms. And until next time, keep your eyes to the sky, your heart pure, and your mind open.
For more than 4,000 years, people have been interpreting the position and movements of the celestial bodies in the sky, observing the heavens above for the answers to the questions that we ask from below. Astrology is not causal or final, nor is it deterministic by nature. It is based upon our interpretive perspectives of the cosmos and ourselves within it. It compels us and the world to embrace the experiences and influences that manifest endlessly upon our journey. For once we begin to understand our own fate and fortune in the sky above, are we then closer to learning to master it. The illusionary movements of the celestial bodies are derived from the awareness of ourselves within the universe, the perceived space around us, and the relative position of the objects that we can observe. The planets act upon a grand zodiacal game board, enticing us to embrace our roles in the ever-evolving narratives unfolding around us. Just as the ancient people once believed that the Earth was at the center of all existence, the understanding and use of astrology can place you at the center of your own cosmic stage, ready to embark upon the journeys of self-discovery, healing, and individuation. It is a tool of endless use in aiding us throughout life. Astrology is the art of relationships found within the archetypal themes acted out on the collective stage of existence. And upon the discovery and realization of the self within our universe, we become prepared to step boldly into the fire that is our soul, as we remember, nurture, and reinvigorate our true inner self. No longer bound, constrained, or limited by the outer world, We instead take on the role of helmsman in our own journey through life in pursuit of our chosen fate and fortune.
For more content like this, please like, follow, and subscribe on your favorite social media platforms. And until next time, keep your eyes to the sky, your heart pure, and your mind open.
Known as the Wanderers, the 7 personal planets are comprised of the Sun, Mercury, Venus, the Moon, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. Their movement from east to west through the sky is known as primary motion. These 7 celestial bodies each represent a dimension or energy signature that makes up one of the observable qualities of life. To the ancients, they were seen as the manifestation of the gods and goddesses who influenced mankind. Their relationships are based on their ability to see one another, referred to as their aspects. Their collective conditions within the zodiac coalesce onto the focal points that we experience within ourselves and within our life. The sun is at the center of the personal consciousness, the projections of ourself, and our views of the world. The moon is the body or vessel that experiences the waves of space and time as we flow through life. Mercury is our connection to the logical mind, the ability to see reason, communicate, and comprehend. Venus is the experience of the 5 senses that lusts for pleasure, harmony, beauty, and love. Mars is the driving force of attraction, desire, and passion that compels us into action. Jupiter is the expansive growth and development that is garnered through our experiences. Saturn is the limitations, boundaries, and restrictions that form the structure of the physical world around us. The 7 personal planets are divided into 2 teams known as the Day and Night Sect. Each sect is made up of a luminary, a benefic, a malefic, and neutral Mercury. Together, they participate in an intricate dance that entangles their collective energies, correlating to the experiences of ourself within our individual and collective reality. Through the study of our personal planets, we learn to better choreograph and perform our own dance in the ballet of life.
For more content like this, please like, follow, and subscribe on your favorite social media platforms. And until next time, keep your eyes to the sky, your heart pure, and your mind open.
Just as you are only one of the billions of people living on Earth, the sun is but one of the seemingly infinite stars living within our universe. However, to us, the sun is more than just any star. It is our star, just as you are the star at the center of your own life. Due to the discoveries of Nicholas Copernicus in the 16th century, the sun was placed at the center of our solar system. Esoterically, the sun has represented the all-seeing eye of God within the consciousness of the mind and soul for over 4,000 years. Once known as Ra, the Egyptian sun god, Helios, the Titan, and Apollo, the god, by the Greeks, and simply as Sol by the Romans. The seasons are set and determined by the equinoxes and solstices of the sun. Each day begins and ends with its birth rising above and its death falling below the horizon. The sun is the masculine luminary of the day sect. It rules over the sign of Leo. It is in its detriment under the sign of Aquarius. It is exalted under the sign of Aries. And it is in its fall under the sign of Libra. The sun is the manifestation of the identity. It expresses the projections of our soul and the desires of the inner self. It is our perspective of the world and how we are perceived by others. It is what we reveal most about our own true nature through the expressions of our life's energy. It is the love and wisdom that we have carried with us into our current incarnation to share with others. The sun is at the center of our sense of identity and conscious awareness. It harnesses and radiates out to the world the self known simply as I am.
For more content like this, please like, follow, and subscribe on your favorite social media platforms. And until next time, keep your eyes to the sky, your heart pure, and your mind open.
Look up into the darkness of the night sky. It is the moon's reflection of the sun that illuminates the world in a way that compels our instinctual nature to awaken within us. The moon represents the body, emotions, and unconsciousness as they flow through time. It records the cycles of fate and fortune experienced in our physical birth, evolving life, and inevitable death. As the fastest moving celestial body, it correlates to the passing of time and our ability to experience cyclical change. Spending only 2 to 2.5 days in each of the signs of the zodiac, the moon also demonstrates change by passing through the phases of new to full every 29.5 days. Known as Khonsu and Thoth, the Egyptian moon gods, as Diana, Artemis, and Hecate by the Greeks, and as Selene or Luna by the Romans. The moon is the feminine luminary of the night sect. It rules over the sign of Cancer. It is in its detriment under the sign of Capricorn. It is exalted under the sign of Taurus. And it is in its fall under the sign of Scorpio. Between the personal consciousness and unconsciousness, while simultaneously tethering us all to the collective unconsciousness. The moon is the flow of karma that is expressed in each incarnation of life, allowing our soul to carry with it the wisdom, experiences, and memories of previous lifetimes into the present. The moon is both the heart and heartbeat of our existence. It diligently reminds us to seek out, create, and protect love at all costs.
For more content like this, please like, follow, and subscribe on your favorite social media platforms. And until next time, keep your eyes to the sky, your heart pure, and your mind open.
Mercury is the smallest and closest planet to the Sun. As the fastest planet, it spends only 88 days completing its orbit through the Zodiac. Referred to as the psychopomp, it is the guide to the underworld, the conscious mind, and all layers of reality. Like a traveling merchant, it bestows the gifts and influences to all of the kingdoms and rulers. Associated with the nervous system and synapses found within the brain, it is our ability to think critically and make comparisons based upon our experiences, intellect, logic, and reasoning. Mercury is how we recognize dichotomy, as it facilitates the communications with ourselves and with others. Associated with the Egyptian god Thoth and his emerald tablets. Known as Hermes, the Greek trickster god, and to the Romans as Mercury, the herald of the gods. Mercury plays a neutral or vacillating role in both the day and night sects. It rules over the signs of Gemini and Virgo. It is in its detriment under the signs of Sagittarius and Pisces. It is exalted under the sign of Virgo. And it is in its fall under the sign of Pisces. Mercury connects us to the power of our intention and will. It reveals how and where we find the motivation when taking actions to achieve our desired outcomes. It is the knowledge that transforms itself into wisdom through our daily practices and habits. It nurtures the lifelong evolution of the mind, body, and spirit. Mercury encourages us to trust in ourselves and our abilities upon our healing journey, to take the initiative needed to fulfill and manifest our visions in the best ways imaginable. By its very nature, Mercury is the harbinger of harmony between all worlds.
For more content like this, please like, follow, and subscribe on your favorite social media platforms. And until next time, keep your eyes to the sky, your heart pure, and your mind open.
Known as the Lightbringer, Venus is the hottest planet in our solar system. It takes 288 days for it to complete its orbit through the Zodiac. Venus represents our connections to the arts, value, beauty, and harmony through the experience of our five senses. It is also associated with the lungs and the processes of give and take. Venus compels us to pursue and cherish the love and companionship that we find on our journey. It correlates to our preferences, enjoyment, lust, and sexuality. It relates to the habits of finding pleasures while avoiding pain. Known as Isis, the Egyptian goddess, Aphrodite, the Greek goddess of lust, and to the Romans as Venus, the goddess of love. Venus is the feminine benefic of the night sect. It rules over the signs of Taurus and Libra. It is in its detriment under the signs of Aries and Scorpio. It is exalted under the sign of Pisces. And it is in its fall under the sign of Virgo. Venus desires to bring things together in order to create something beautiful. It is the unconditional and individualized love that we express to others and ourselves. Venus begs us to bring forth, create, and experience as much beauty, love, harmony, and peace as possible while on our journey. Venus reminds us that discovering bliss within ourselves allows us to become the embodiment of joy while we fall in love with every moment we create, experience, and share with the world.
For more content like this, please like, follow, and subscribe on your favorite social media platforms. And until next time, keep your eyes to the sky, your heart pure, and your mind open.
Known as the Fiery One, Mars is viewed as the most ominous of the planets. It takes 2 years for it to complete its orbit through the Zodiac. Mars represents our primitive survival instincts, energies, urges, and drives. It influences our sexual attractions and desires to reproduce, thus biologically conquering death. It rules over the passageways of bodily fluids, secretions, and most importantly, the blood. Mars rules over all things hard and abrupt. It is our competitive nature along with the source of our aggression and anger. It is ultimately what compels us into acts of resistance, rebellion, and war. Related to the Egyptian gods Anhur and Set and known as Horus of the Horizon, known as Aries, the defiant Greek god of war, and to the Romans as Mars, the god of military. Mars is the masculine malefic of the night sect. It rules over the signs of Aries and Scorpio. It is in its detriment under the signs of Taurus and Libra. It is exalted under the sign of Capricorn. And it is in its fall under the sign of Cancer. Mars is the force that propels us into adventure as we learn to master our lower self through the consequences of our actions and choices. It is our expressions of bravery and courage in the face of danger and adversity as it seeks victory for the hero within us. It compels us to take meaningful actions in pursuit of valor and virtue. Mars is the fire within our soul that leads to the path of discipleship over the primal self. It honors the sacrifices of the lower self so the higher self may be free to leap headfirst into our best life.
For more content like this, please like, follow, and subscribe on your favorite social media platforms. And until next time, keep your eyes to the sky, your heart pure, and your mind open.
Known as the Radiant One, Jupiter spends 12 years completing its orbit through the Zodiac. As the largest of the planets, it represents our growth, development, and expansion throughout our life. It influences how we perceive, relate, and interact with philosophy, higher education, and religion. Jupiter rules over the thighs, feet, the sperm, the egg, and the womb. It represents our reproductive abilities and how we interact with children along with our parenting style. Jupiter corresponds to our luck, joy, goodwill, and generosity, while it also tempts us to overindulge and risk it all in hopes of finding the deeper meanings of life. Related to Amen-Ra, the Egyptian king of the gods, known to the Greeks as Zeus, king of Olympus, and to the Romans known simply as Jupiter. Jupiter is the masculine benefic of the day sect. It rules over the signs of Sagittarius and Pisces. It is in its detriment under the signs of Gemini and Virgo. It is exalted under the sign of Cancer, and it is in its fall under the sign of Capricorn. Jupiter compels us to travel down the road of life, radiating childlike wonderment and confidence from within our mind, body, and soul, inviting us to bring forth from within our own understandings and a love of life. Jupiter guides us to seek out and embrace the higher self and to embody our greatest potentials of love. While the wheel of fate and fortune turns, Jupiter acts as a hub, fusing together all of our experiences as it integrates the self into the higher spiritual purpose.
For more content like this, please like, follow, and subscribe on your favorite social media platforms. And until next time, keep your eyes to the sky, your heart pure, and your mind open.
Known as the Shining One, Saturn spends 29 years completing its orbit through the Zodiac. As the slowest of the personal planets, Saturn represents our awareness and experiences of time, order, limits, boundaries, and restrictions. It is the realization and need to adhere to the rules, procedures, and structure that governs our reality. Saturn rules over the tendons, ligaments, and knees. Also the kidneys, bladder, and the other hidden internal parts of the body. As the furthest visible planet to the naked eye, Saturn acts as the dweller on the threshold of our consciousness. Related to the Egyptian gods Osiris and Min, known as Kronos, the Greek Titan and god of time, and as Saturn, the god of agriculture, by the Romans. Saturn is the masculine malefic of the day sect. It rules over the signs of Capricorn and Aquarius. It is in its detriment under the signs of Cancer and Leo. It is exalted under the sign of Libra. And it is in its fall under the sign of Aries. As the Lord of Karma, Saturn teaches us the power of discipline, patience, and duty through restrictions. It urges us to commit ourselves to the paths of law, order, maturity, and self-control. It is the force that compels us to become responsible for ourselves and our own life. Saturn initiates us to the creative potentials of law, order, and our ability to govern and rule ourselves. It teaches us to use wisely what little time we have before reaching the inevitable end to life's road.
For more content like this, please like, follow, and subscribe on your favorite social media platforms. And until next time, keep your eyes to the sky, your heart pure, and your mind open.
The Hellenistic period lasted from 323 to 33 BCE. It is considered to be the pinnacle of the ancient Greek, Babylonian, Roman, and Egyptian cultures. Sect is a Hellenistic concept that places the planets into two teams known as diurnal and nocturnal sects. Each sect is made up of a luminary which determines the sect light, a benefic known as the good doer, a malefic known as the bad doer, and vacillating Mercury. The sect light is determined by the placement of the sun above or below the horizon at the time of birth. Above being diurnal, below being nocturnal. Sect is reinforced through the concept of the planetary joys. They are the houses where the planets experience the most enjoyment, comfort, and benefits. The birth date, time, and location determines the ascendant and reveals to us the planet that is known as the chart ruler. The luminary of the day sect is the sun, and the luminary of the night sect is the moon. They correlate to the individual's ego, personality, expressions of self, and how we are perceived by others. The benefic and malefic planets correlate to the experiences of internal and external ease and tension found throughout our life. Jupiter acts as the benefic and Mars acts as the malefic in day charts, while Venus acts as the benefic and Saturn acts as the malefic in night charts. Mercury belongs to the Sun in a day chart and to the Moon in a night chart. The concept of sect allows us to better examine ourselves, our strengths and weaknesses, along with our opportunities and challenges. It aids us as we explore and map out our journey of self-discovery and perhaps find what we are seeking within ourselves and from our life.
For more content like this, please like, follow, and subscribe on your favorite social media platforms. And until next time, keep your eyes to the sky, your heart pure, and your mind open.
The zodiac is represented by the 12 constellations surrounded by the Earth that the Sun appears to pass through each year. They are some of the oldest and widely shared stories passed down from our ancient ancestors. There are two ways to calculate and define the zodiac: sidereal and tropical. Sidereal is based upon the relative position of the Sun in relation to the constellations as they appear in the sky. It is the heavens above as they are now. Tropical is based upon the relative position of the Sun 2,000 plus years ago. The constellations are fixed to the linear path of the Sun known as the ecliptic. It corresponds to the changing of the seasons as we experience them throughout the year. Each of the 12 signs has a symbolic representative that embodies their essence. They are Aries the ram, Taurus the bull, Gemini the twins, Cancer the crab, Leo the lion, Virgo the virgin, Libra the scales, Scorpio the scorpion, Sagittarius the centaur, Capricorn the sea goat, Aquarius the water bearer, and Pisces the fish. The signs can also be placed into groups. One way of doing this is by elemental triplicity, in which the signs are placed into 4 groups of 3 based upon their shared element. Additionally, the signs can be grouped based upon their modality, known as quadruplicity. Cardinal signs are initiators, fixed signs are stabilizers, and mutable signs are adapters. The 12 signs of the zodiac embody the essence of their expressed energies. Their influence over the celestial bodies acts as the archetypal structure that aids in directing the flow of energies throughout our life.
For more content like this, please like, follow, and subscribe on your favorite social media platforms. And until next time, keep your eyes to the sky, your heart pure, and your mind open. Aries the Ram is attributed to the element of fire with a masculine gender and a positive polarity. Its modality is cardinal. Aries season is around March 20th to April 21st, and it corresponds to the spring equinox. It is the sign of initiation and swift action. Ruled by the planet Mars, Aries is the sign in which Venus is in its detriment. The Sun finds its exaltation, and where Saturn is in its fall. Aries is associated with energy, force, power, assertiveness, and aggression. It initiates us into motion as it is the hinge point between inaction and action. It behaves as an energy that compels us to act, accomplish, and fulfill our desires and urges while aiming high into the heavens. Aries is also associated with religion, religious beliefs, and convictions. It separates and divides all things similar and opposed. It is attributed to war and the expression of violence, as well as representing the soldier archetype who is eager to begin yet another battle. Aries symbolizes the creative fire of light itself. It is the essence of material expression and personal dominance. It is the embodiment of bravery and courage. As it stands boldly in the face of any opposition, Aries fears no conflict. It brazenly captures the role of leader and takes charge with no time for hesitation or doubt. Aries is pure determination and will. The expression of Aries compels life through the influences and experiences of tension, conflict, desire, and success. It is the realization and embodiment of the light that is within us all. For more content like this, please like, follow, and subscribe on your favorite social media platforms. And until next time, keep your eyes to the sky, your heart pure, and your mind open. Taurus the Bull is attributed to the element of Earth with a feminine gender and a negative polarity. Its modality is fixed. Taurus season is around April 22nd to May 21st, and it corresponds to the rainy season. It is the sign of substance and inertia. Ruled by the planet Venus, Taurus is the sign where Mars is in its detriment. It is where the moon is exalted, and where none of the personal planets are in their fall. Taurus is associated with fertility, growth, structure, abundance, and pleasure. Its focus is on the results of work and the ability for discernment. It behaves as an energy that compels us to gather, fortify, and build while we enjoy the pleasures of life. Taurus is also associated with worship, ceremony, and religious hierarchies. It is how we choose to honor the gods and goddesses, while it also correlates to how we honor ourselves through self-care, self-love, and self-acceptance. Taurus is the penetrating light on the path to actualization. It is the essence of duality and physical discernment. It embodies the energies of stubbornness and determination. It steadily endures and overcomes all challenges standing before it. Taurus maintains and fosters law and order, choosing stability over change. It fears chaos and the lack of abundance, thus at times becoming lazy and unmoved. The expression of Taurus compels life through the influences and experiences of pleasure, abundance, lust, and obtainment. It is the realization and embodiment of the uplifting transformation within us all. For more content like this, please like, follow, and subscribe on your favorite social media platforms. And until next time, keep your eyes to the sky, your heart pure, and your mind open. Gemini the twins are attributed to the element of air, with a masculine gender and a positive polarity. Its modality is mutable. Gemini season is around May 22nd to June 21st, and it corresponds to the transition from spring into summer. It is the sign of change and fruition. Ruled by the planet Mercury, Gemini is the sign where Jupiter is in its detriment. None of the personal planets are in their exaltation or in their fall while under the sign of Gemini. Gemini is associated with intelligence, education, connection, and communication. It specializes in adaptability as it garners information and experiences. It behaves as an energy that compels us to network, connect, and understand. Gemini is also associated with diplomacy, the spoken and written word, and developmental education. It corresponds to the natural curiosity that drives the urge to ask questions. It recognizes all the various pieces of life's puzzle and attempts to create a clearer picture by bringing it all together. Gemini's preference for variety and choice may lead it to moments of hesitation and indecisiveness, stifling its natural fast pace. Gemini is the conscious light within all relationships. It recognizes itself within others and within all material, mental, and spiritual manifestations. It embodies the energies of relatability, kinship, and analysis as it brings forth the desire to experience all things new and novel. It reveals the true nature of instability in its haste to experience all that life has to offer. The expression of Gemini compels life through the influences and experiences of awareness, contemplation, evaluation, and choice. It overcomes life's stagnation by breaking the chains of predictability and monotony so that it may manifest and experience something new within itself. For more content like this, please like, follow, and subscribe on your favorite social media platforms. And until next time, keep your eyes to the sky, your heart pure, and your mind open. Cancer the crab is attributed to the element of water with a feminine gender and a negative polarity. Its modality is cardinal. Cancer season is around June 22nd to July 21st, and it corresponds to the summer solstice. It is the sign of sensitivity and nurturing. Ruled by the moon, Cancer is the sign where Saturn is in its detriment, where Jupiter is exalted, and where Mars is in its fall. Cancer is associated with our inner experiences of the world and of others. It is the relationships that we share within our community and within our neighborhood. It is our home, our sense of belonging, the desires to be needed, and our family. It is the relationship we have with our mother, our nurturing instincts, our emotional experiences, and our memories. It is the fondness for nostalgia and the attachment to the past and people we love. Cancer is also attributed with the rhythms of emotional change and mood. It illuminates the spectrum of emotions that we find ourselves experiencing and expressing throughout our daily life. Cancer has a deep desire for security, safety, connection, and home. It compels the protective instinct to cling to and keep safe that which is loved deeply. It is the highly intuitive ability to sense danger and respond preemptively. Due to its powerful expression of empathy, Cancer is known for needing to ease the burdens of loved ones, even at their own expense. Its sorrow comes from the understanding of inevitable loss. Cancer is the dark light of matter that yearns for stimulation, belonging, and purpose. It is the channel for the light of the world to shine brightly in the homes that we build and dwell within. For more content like this, please like, follow, and subscribe on your favorite social media platforms. And until next time, keep your eyes to the sky, your heart pure, and your mind open.
Leo the Lion is attributed to the element of fire, with a masculine gender and a positive polarity. Its modality is fixed. Leo season is around July 22nd to August 21st, and it corresponds to the midsummer. It is the sign of expression and creativity. Ruled by the Sun, Leo is the sign where Saturn is in its detriment. It is where none of the personal planets are exalted or in their fall. Leo is associated with our outward expressions. It is a source of inspiration that drives creativity and the expression of the self. It is the desires to be special and to have a greater purpose. Leo is the awareness and belief that what we do matters. It compels us to take control at center stage. Leo entices us to guide others and to be chosen and appointed to the role of leader by our peers. Leo is the energy of thoughtfulness and generosity, while simultaneously being known as arrogant, self-centered, and vain when driven by the intolerant personality center. Leo has the ability to command the instinctual and intellectual use of will to purposely manifest its own desires. When fully in tune with the desires of both the personality and the soul, Leo has the potential to generate and experience levels of monumental status and achievement. The center of Leo's individuality is concentrated by the fusion and integration of the personality and the soul, thus allowing it the opportunities to leap fully into the conscious awareness of divine will. Leo is the embodiment of that which we truly are, as it proudly proclaims, I am that I am.
For more content like this, please like, follow, and subscribe on your favorite social media platforms. And until next time, keep your eyes to the sky, your heart pure, and your mind open.
Virgo the Virgin is attributed to the element of Earth with a feminine gender and a negative polarity. Its modality is mutable. Virgo season is around August 22nd to September 21st, and it corresponds to the transition from summer into fall. It is the sign of purity and service. Ruled by Mercury, Virgo is the sign where Jupiter is in its detriment. It is where none of the personal planets are exalted, and it is where Venus is in its fall. Virgo is associated with routine and responsibility. Its energy is precise and diligent. It also correlates to cleanliness and hygiene. Virgo is both coordinated and calculated in their approach to life. It relates to virginity, innocence, and the health of the physical body. Virgo excels when engaging with analytical thought, planning, and development. It's known for its desires for perfection, which manifest as an attention to detail, keen observations, and a fondness for organization. When guided by a self-serving nature, Virgo can be critical, indiscriminate, judgmental, and opinionated about others and the world, thus inadvertently creating chaos while attempting to create order. Virgo is compelled by a need to care for our physical health, thus we are able to take care of others in the same ways. Virgo is invigorated by its efforts to be of service to all of humanity. It corresponds to the creative and destructive energies of Mother Earth. It is nurturing while simultaneously dismissive. It is an energy of proficiency, resourcefulness, and adaptability. Virgo embodies the essence of divine consciousness as it recognizes itself as both the mother and the child of creation. It acts as a vessel to the Creator as it expresses the qualities of the soul in physical form.
For more content like this, please like, follow, and subscribe on your favorite social media platforms. And until next time, keep your eyes to the sky, your heart pure, and your mind open.
Libra the Scales is attributed to the element of air with a masculine gender and a positive polarity. Its modality is cardinal. Libra season is around September 22nd to October 21st, and it corresponds to the fall equinox. It is the sign of balance and fairness. Ruled by Venus, Libra is the sign where Mars is in its detriment. It is where Saturn is exalted, and it is where the Sun is in its fall. Libra is closely associated with choice and relationships. Its energy is directed towards networking and maintaining bonds with others. Libra compels us to come together and collaborate with one another. It seeks to flirt, attract, connect, and create romances. It focuses its efforts on how to maintain equality and oneness with others and the world. Due to its desires for justice, Libra may perceive life as black and white. When in balance, this may manifest as an argumentative and self-righteous approach to life. Libra tends to place itself in the role of judge while it divides the world into winners and losers, while it simultaneously is unable to see its own flaws and errors. Libra corresponds to the proper use of evaluation and decision-making. It is in tune with all of the lines that have been drawn, and it urges us to make the required sacrifices in service to the world. Libra signifies the equilibrium required to attain and maintain peace, harmony, and love. When in balance, it embodies a we over me mentality. Libra chooses the way between two great lines of force, seeking to establish and maintain order in both life and in death.
For more content like this, please like, follow, and subscribe on your favorite social media platforms. And until next time, keep your eyes to the sky, your heart pure, and your mind open.
Scorpio the Scorpion is attributed to the element of water, with a feminine gender and a negative polarity. Its modality is fixed. Scorpio season is around October 22nd to November 21st, and it corresponds to the falling of the leaves in autumn. It is the sign of death and rebirth. Ruled by Mars, Scorpio is the sign in which Venus is in its detriment. It is where none of the personal planets are exalted, and it is where the moon is in its fall. Scorpio is often drawn towards solitude in retrospect as a means of improvement. It seeks to break down all of the barriers to better understand the inner workings of itself and of reality. Scorpio is attuned to the hidden occult understandings of symbolism and the exchange of energy in all of its many forms. It prepares for the possibilities of uncertainty in all experiences. Due to its own mysterious and secretive nature, Scorpio is known for being untrusting and suspicious towards others and the world. Its commitment and loyalty to itself may at times lead to grandiosity and spiteful isolation as a means of self-preservation and protection. Scorpio reveals the path of discipleship that leads to the reorientation of one's purpose in life. It embraces the transformational trials and tribulations that may result in triumphant victories in both life and death. Scorpio embodies the true spirit of the warrior, as it has mastered the ability to fight for what is loved rather than against what is hated, thus unlocking the hidden power of the soul's true nature. Scorpio compels the lights of form, soul, and life onto the battlefields of existence to triumph over both conflict and peace as a warrior of blended light.
For more content like this, please like, follow, and subscribe on your favorite social media platforms. And until next time, keep your eyes to the sky, your heart pure, and your mind open.
Sagittarius the Centaur is attributed to the element of fire, with a masculine gender and a positive polarity. Its modality is mutable. Sagittarius season is around November 22nd to December 21st, and it corresponds to the transition from autumn into winter. It is the sign of orientation and sovereignty, ruled by Jupiter. Sagittarius is the sign where Mercury is in its detriment. It is where none of the personal planets are exalted or in their fall. Sagittarius is associated with nature, freedom, self-sufficiency, and adventure. It dreams big and aims for the stars, as it often expresses itself with jovial optimism. It seeks to hit the target of total self-exploration and expression. Sagittarius relates to the concepts of God, religion, and faith as it intuitively embraces its connection to a higher power. Due to its nonsensical nature, Sagittarius may act carelessly, rude, and struggle with remaining loyal. Its impatience and need to go in many directions at once may lead to the experience of overwhelming burnout. Sagittarius is compelled by the ego, and it concentrates its focuses into traveling towards its ambitious desires and aspirations of discipleship. When evolved, its efforts are generated from a one-pointed consciousness of divine purpose. Sagittarius is attributed to the fundamental principles of direction. Therefore, it trusts in a divine plan. It is guided by love and wisdom in pursuit of what is good for all over the satisfaction of itself. Sagittarius sets its eyes steadily onto the future as it strives for expansion and growth in its explorations of itself and the world. It sees the goal, it reaches the goal, and it sets another along its journey of self-discovery and mastery.
For more content like this, please like, follow, and subscribe on your favorite social media platforms. And until next time, keep your eyes to the sky, your heart pure, and your mind open.
Capricorn the goat is attributed to the element of earth, with a feminine gender and a negative polarity. Its modality is cardinal. Capricorn season is around December 22nd to January 21st, and it corresponds to the winter solstice. It is the sign of ambition and conclusion. Ruled by Saturn, Capricorn is the sign where the moon is in its detriment. It is the sign where Mars is exalted, and it is the sign where Jupiter is in its fall. Capricorn is associated with form, structure, dedication, and purposeful objective. It is driven towards its visions of success through the use of its own will. Capricorn corresponds to the hard work, foresight, and planning required to achieve the most optimal outcomes. Its tenacious mindset pushes it to strive to reach the pinnacle of all of its efforts in life. Capricorn is known to express apathy towards others and can be obsessive, restrictive, and inhibiting. When blinded by its own ambitions, it may develop manipulative, oppressive, and malicious tendencies. Capricorn compels the desire to obtain achievement, accomplishment, and acknowledgement. It builds its glory upon the foundations of determination and perseverance in the face of opposition. Capricorn develops and matures itself through the creation of and devotion to hierarchical order and the predictability of its rhythms. It sets the standard to which all results are measured and from which all conclusions are drawn. Capricorn turns its back to the supernal light that it finds itself lost within in order to better serve all of humankind in our ascension to the highest potentials of form through the will of our spirit.
For more content like this, please like, follow, and subscribe on your favorite social media platforms. And until next time, keep your eyes to the sky, your heart pure, and your mind open.
Aquarius, the water bearer, is attributed to the element of air, with a masculine gender and a positive polarity. Its modality is fixed. Aquarius season is around January 22nd to February 21st, and it corresponds to the deep freeze of midwinter. It is the sign of ideals and manifestation. Ruled by Saturn, Aquarius is the sign in which the sun is in its detriment. It is the sign where none of the personal planets are exalted or in their fall. Aquarius is associated with humanity, society, technology, and comprehension. It has a deep understanding of the bonds that hold everything together. Aquarius tends to think globally, placing the needs of the group above its own. Thus, it builds its personality upon its choices to serve. Aquarius is known for being eccentric, indifferent, isolating, and irrational due to its need for both unpredictability along with individual accountability. It naturally seeks to rebel against the rules of authority, even at its own expense. Aquarius attempts to revolutionize the future by constantly expanding upon the limits and restrictions of society. It pushes itself and humanity past the boundaries of what is considered to be possible. Aquarius seeks out new worlds in hopes to connect more deeply with and better understand all forms of life. It is attuned to the interconnected nature of reality and our responsibility to it. Aquarius desires liberation for all as it willingly chooses to serve life. It embraces its purpose in the physical plane and acts as a cleansing light within the darkness. It is the waters of life pouring forth from itself to quench the thirst of humanity.
For more content like this, please like, follow, and subscribe on your favorite social media platforms. And until next time, keep your eyes to the sky, your heart pure, and your mind open.
Pisces the fish is attributed to the element of water, with a feminine gender and a negative polarity. Its modality is mutable. Pisces season is around February 22nd to March 21st, and it corresponds to the transition from winter into spring. It is the sign of bondage and sacrifice. Ruled by Jupiter, Pisces is the sign where Mercury is in its detriment. It is the sign where Venus is exalted, and it is where none of the personal planets are in their fall. Pisces is associated with spirituality, mysticism, faith, and interconnection. It gently surrenders itself to a life of servitude. Thus, throughout its experiences, it gracefully expresses oneness and gratitude towards all of creation. Pisces is known at times for possessing a delusional mindset with escapist tendencies that may lead to addiction and substance abuse. It may seek out ways to avoid the realities of life while it imagines itself as a worthless, helpless, and undesired martyr. Due to its desires for personal and collective compassion and salvation, Pisces is often related to the concepts of faith, religious freedoms, covenants, saviors, and transcendence. It embodies true sympathy and unconditional love in all that it does. Pisces seeks to find a balance within its realms of imagination and creative power so that it may bring forth the will of the divine collective. It comes to end all forms of darkness found within consciousness. Pisces goes forth into matter as a willing instrument. It leaves the house of the Creator, turning back to save all that it can in accordance with the divine plan of existence.
For more content like this, please like, follow, and subscribe on your favorite social media platforms. And until next time, keep your eyes to the sky, your heart pure, and your mind open.
Within astrology, one of the ways the strengths and weaknesses of planets can be determined is by their essential dignity. Essential dignity describes the type of influence a planet may express based upon the sign that it is in. There are 4 types of essential dignity that a planet may have. They are rulership, detriment, exaltation, and fall. The signs of a planet's rulership and exaltation are opposed to the signs of its detriment and fall. When in its rulership, a planet is referred to as self-ruled and possessing its own power. The Sun and Moon each rule 1 sign, while the other remaining 5 personal planets each rule 2 signs. When in its detriment, a planet is referred to as weakened, debilitated, and corrupted. It is said to be in exile and act adversarially while it is under the sign opposing its rulership. While under its sign of exaltation, a planet is said to be placed upon a throne within its secret home. When under the sign of its fall, a planet is said to be depressed and disparaged while shackled in its prison. Essential dignity helps to better understand the qualities of the planets within the signs in our study and practice of astrology and life.
For more content like this, please like, follow, and subscribe on your favorite social media platforms. And until next time, keep your eyes to the sky, your heart pure, and your mind open. Within astrology, the ascendant is determined by the position of the sun at the time of birth in relation to the zodiac sign located in the eastern sky where the sun would rise during those hours. Also known as the rising sign, it is located within the first house and is expressed through the signature of the sign that rules over that house. The signature of the ascendant can be found in the physical form. It is also portrayed in the overall goal and purpose of the life. It is where the soul and the body join into a union to navigate their way through one life together. The ascendant is referred to as the sun of possibilities, and it is where we enter into spiritual struggle. It demonstrates the duality between the personalities we create and our true self and purpose. It signifies both the soul and the vessel that holds it within physical form. The ascendant correlates to our chances for spiritual growth and development as we strive for an infinitely changing form of perfection. It indicates where and how to activate the soul's purpose upon our journey. It is the spiritual reservoir that we pull from when in the dark, and it is the highest potential for this life's incarnation. The ascendant brings the individual nearer to the centers of their life as it ushers in the death of the personality. It is the way of the soul upon the wheel of life that both separates and links us to the rest of creation. The ruler of the ascendant offers opportunities for advancements in both the physical and the spiritual life of the individual. It is the force of the soul that fuses together with the personality in order to reveal the path the individual must take upon their journey. The ascendant illuminates the path of the return for the dweller in physical form. It holds the secrets of the future, and it presents the forces needed that will lead the individual to success if properly used. For more content like this, please like, follow, and subscribe on your favorite social media platforms. And until next time, keep your eyes to the sky, your heart pure, and your mind open. Within astrology, the descendant is determined by the sun's position in the sky at the time of birth in relation to the zodiac sign located in the western sky where the sun would set during those hours. It is located and ruled by the sign of the 7th house and acts as our mirror to the world. The descendant is related to the types of bonds and connections we are drawn to and create throughout our lives. It represents the types of people and partnerships we admire and seek out. The descendant signifies what we are attracted to, along with what we desire from others and relationships. Associated with marriage, it also correlates to our preferences and expectations of romantic partners and intimacy. The descendant reveals how, why, and with whom we work best with. It highlights the types of energies and relationships that add the most value to our life. The descendant is also connected to our known enemies, and it is the type of energy that we perceive to be opposing of our own. It illuminates the polar opposite personality type from our own. Thus, it is a representative of what we repress most within our shadow self. Known as the setting, the descendant shows the progression that is experienced as we grow older. It relates to the person we strive to become on our voyages throughout life and time. The descendant is the inevitable conclusion of life that we are all moving towards. It is the realization and acceptance of the finite amount of time we have before reaching the end. It is the familiar vulnerability we all experience before entering the unknown. The descendant is the relational mass that we consciously create for ourselves due to our desire for companionship. It is the person that we actively attempt to become so that we may better complement the people we love.
The Descendant is the soulmate within ourselves that is experienced externally in others through our choices of bonds and unions.
For more content like this, please like, follow, and subscribe on your favorite social media platforms. And until next time, keep your eyes to the sky, your heart pure, and your mind open.
Within astrology, the midheaven is determined by the highest position of the sun during a day. It is how and where we are the most seen in our life. The midheaven correlates to the experiences of being middle-aged. It is how and where we find our purpose and role within life, along with how we establish and maintain our brand and reputation. The midheaven signifies the mark that we attempt to leave upon the world. It is associated with our desires and abilities for productivity and creation. It is the highest expectation that we hold for ourselves and what we hope our best efforts may one day achieve. The midheaven helps us to discover and connect to our perfect profession, career, and our approach to work life. It reveals the ways in which we may best earn a living and support our own needs. Thus, it aids us in learning to be our best selves while we interact and contribute to the world around us. The midheaven is associated to how we attempt to create changes in the world. Understanding its role in our life is often known for inspiring the innovation required to make real changes. Therefore, it leads us to the implementation of our life's work. The midheaven illuminates how we may best use our time, energy, and other resources to achieve stability, safety, and success in life. It is the pathway to our greatest potential, dreams, ambitions, and aspirations. Our ascension in life is guided by the influence of the midheaven. Thus, it reminds us of our responsibilities to ourselves, to others, and most importantly, to the world.
For more content like this, please like, follow, and subscribe on your favorite social media platforms. And until next time, keep your eyes to the sky, your heart pure, and your mind open.
In astrology, the Imum Coeli is opposed to the midheaven and it translates to the bottom of the sky. It is determined by calculating the lowest point of the sun during our daily orbit around it. The Imum Coeli represents our earliest experiences of life, our family, and the relationship with our mother. It correlates to our sense and understanding of home and home life. Therefore, it reflects the blueprints of our formative developmental growth along with the strengths and weaknesses of those experiences. The Imum Coeli corresponds to our childhood, early development, and core memories. It is what reminds us of our past. It fosters our fondness for nostalgia and attachments to tradition. It indicates where and how we feel the most safe and secure while being vulnerable and allowing our inner child to explore and experience the wonders of the present moment. The Imum Coeli is associated with our dreams and wandering through the labyrinth that is our subconscious and memories. It alludes to our most private self and the secrets that we keep hidden deep within. The Imum Coeli reveals that which is kept locked away and buried deep in our most repressed self. It is what we may need to practice becoming more actively aware of in order to break down the self-imposed limitations and boundaries of fear, shame, guilt, and regret. The Imum Coeli brings with it the wisdom and experience of our past and past lives so that we may become masters of them in this life. It signifies our ancestral roots and the genetic predispositions of our hereditary lineage. The Imum Coeli is the seemingly unique yet universally shared experiences of the beginning and end of our journey through life, into death, and beyond.
For more content like this, please like, follow, and subscribe on your favorite social media platforms. And until next time, keep your eyes to the sky, your heart pure, and your mind open.
Within astrology, the houses are derived through the subject's date of birth, time of birth, and their geographical location of birth. They are based upon the observable diurnal rotation of the sun, moon, and planets as they move from east to west through the sky. In modern astrology, each sign rules and shares its attributes with one of the 12 houses. However, in ancient astrology, signs do not rule any specific house, nor do they share the same attributes. There are 3 types of houses: angular, succedent, and cadent. Cadent houses are where planets are declining, thus they are less active and influential. Succedent houses are where planets build up momentum and influence. Angular houses are where planets are the most active and influential. Cadent houses are oriented towards the past, succedent houses towards the future, and angular houses towards the present. Each house represents an area of life. The southern hemisphere is on the top and represents the public self. The northern hemisphere is on the bottom and represents the private self. The eastern hemisphere is on the left and represents the independent self, and the western hemisphere is on the right and represents the collaborative self. The 12 houses are like rooms within a mansion. Each room is designed and decorated by the sign ruling over it and its planetary influences. The importance and amount of time spent in each room varies from individual subject based upon all of the placements found within the chart. Throughout our life, the houses will become more or less active and influential based upon the movement of the planets. Transits are the planets moving from room to room within our mansion. They demonstrate how each house plays a vital role in the experience, expression, and evolution of our life. As the planets move through and interact within the 12 houses, we experience the ever-changing journey of our life as the dweller within the mansion.
For more content like this, please like, follow, and subscribe on your favorite social media platforms. And until next time, keep your eyes to the sky, your heart pure, and your mind open.
Within astrology, there are several ways to divide the sky into houses. The Hellenistic period brought forth the earliest developments, understanding, and use of houses in astrology. Today, there are three basic types of house systems: ecliptic, spatial, and temporal. The most popular system used today is the Placidus system. It is a temporal system that incorporates time zones along with the diurnal arc of the sun to calculate 12 unequal houses. It results in intercepted signs and houses. It was pioneered by the 17th century monk Placidus to Titus, and it is based upon a mistranslation of the equal house system. The equal house system is ecliptic based, and it establishes the ascendant as the start of the first house. Based upon the ascendant in Midheaven, it then divides each house into 12 equal 30-degree areas of the sky. It was popularized by Ptolemy in the 1st century AD, and it is still commonly used today in many forms of astrology. The whole house system is the oldest of the house systems. It is also ecliptic based. However, based upon the degree on the ascendant, each sign is then moved over a whole house for the entire duration of its rulership. Popularized by Vedius Valens in the 1st century AD, it was based upon 2nd century BC techniques. Each system of house division uses a particular set of rules and factors to calculate and determine the house's position, sizes, and zodiacal correspondence. There are several types of house systems today, all of which provide a unique perspective of the same subject. Each unique perspective reveals the complexity of relationships between the signs, planets, and houses within a chart. Each of the house systems serves a particular function while providing a glimpse beyond the veil of familiarity that is our own life. Finding the house system that most accurately depicts our experiences allows us to better understand, build, and fortify the structures that manifest within ourselves and throughout our life.
For more content like this, please like, follow, and subscribe on your favorite social media platforms. And until next time, keep your eyes to the sky, your heart pure, and your mind open.
In astrology, the first, second, and third houses contain the most private and independent elements of our being and life. Known as the first quadrant, it is where we are the most familiar and comfortable with ourselves and our purpose. The angular first house is known as the hour marker. It alludes to where the soul entered into the body, and it is the house of spiritual breath, of purpose, and of life. Also known as the helm, it is where Mercury is in its joy. The succeeding second house is the house of livelihood, occupations, possessions, and values. It is what we are naturally drawn to and value within ourselves and in life. Known as the gates of Hades, the second house alludes to that which we strive to obtain and how we choose to obtain it in life. The cadent third house is the house of neighborhoods, neighbors, and daily travel. It is the house of our siblings, our early education, schooling, and personal development. It is how we learn and communicate, along with how we prefer to be taught and communicated with by others. It is associated with temples, worship, priestesses, and rituals. Known as the house of the goddess, it is where the moon is in its joy. The first, second, and third houses create the private and independent first quadrant of the wheel chart. Together, they represent the beginning stages of the evolutionary process that we are experiencing within ourselves throughout our life.
For more content like this, please like, follow, and subscribe on your favorite social media platforms. And until next time, keep your eyes to the sky, your heart pure, and your mind open.
In astrology, the 4th, 5th, and 6th houses contain the most private and collaborative elements of our being in life. Known as the second quadrant, it is where we begin to integrate with the world through our relationships with family, romance, creativity, and career. The angular 4th house is known as the subterranean. It represents our childhood, the relationship with our parents, our childhood home, and its effects on our home today. It is the unconscious mind and its influence in our every decision. It is our secrets and what we keep hidden away from our conscious mind and the world. The succeedent 5th house is known as the house of good fortune. It represents our love, lust, sex life, and sexuality. It also represents fertility, births, children, and parenting styles. As the expression of our imagination, creativity, natural talents, and good luck, it is where Venus is in its joy. The Cadence 6th house is known as the house of bad fortune. It represents our physical health, fitness, hygiene, injuries, illnesses, and suffering. It signifies where we may need to ask for help in our life, and it is where Mars is in its joy, as it represents our experiences of servitude, work, and labor. The 4th, 5th, and 6th houses create the private and collaborative second quadrant of the wheel chart. Together, they represent the lifelong process of integrating ourselves into the world through relationships, creation, and service.
For more content like this, please like, follow, and subscribe on your favorite social media platforms. And until next time, keep your eyes to the sky, your heart pure, and your mind open.
In astrology, the 7th, 8th, and 9th houses contain the most public and collaborative elements of our being in life. It is where we maintain our relationships with companions, lovers, enemies, death, authority, and God. The angular 7th house is known as the setting. It represents our alliances, friendships, companionships, lovers, marriages, and spouses, along with our known enemies and adversaries. It correlates to old age and who we are becoming as a person in the later stages of our life. The succeedent 8th house is known as the idle house. It represents death and punishments along with that which we learn and gain from both. It is our family lineages, history, and inheritances. It correlates to how we share and use the resources of others, and it represents our connection to occult knowledge, wisdom, and practices. The cadent ninth house is known as the House of God. It represents our understanding and relationship with God, religions, higher education, traveling and living abroad, and foreigners. It correlates to mysticism, astrology, and divination. It is where the sun is in its joy and correlates to rulership and authority. The 7th, 8th, and 9th houses create the public and collaborative third quadrant of the wheel chart. Together, they represent the process of developing our faith, belief, and trust in others, death, and God throughout our journey of life.
For more content like this, please like, follow, and subscribe on your favorite social media platforms. And until next time, keep your eyes to the sky, your heart pure, and your mind open.
In astrology, the 10th, 11th, and 12th houses contain the most public and independent elements of our being and life. Known as the 4th quadrant, it is where we examine our career, dreams, hopes, friends, groups, society, mental health, and undoing. The angular 10th house is known as the Midheaven. It represents what we do. It is our actions, drive, and career. It correlates to our reputation and how we maintain it, along with what we are able and driven to accomplish through our work. It alludes to the changes that we strive to create through our effort, work, influence, and will. The succeeding 11th house is known as the House of Good Spirit. It represents our hopes and dreams, our friends, groups, and organizations, along with our culture and society. It correlates to our gifts and what we gain from society and our friends. It alludes to our expectations of the future, as it is where Jupiter is in its joy. The cadent 12th house is known as the House of Bad Spirit. It represents our mental health and illnesses, our fears, anxieties, phobias, and shadow. It alludes to the unknown and unacknowledged dangers, challenges, and enemies in our life. It is where Saturn is in its joy. As the house between worlds, it leads to our inevitable undoing. The 10th, 11th, and 12th houses contain the public and independent 4th quadrant of the wheel chart. Together, they represent the summit of our efforts in a world that we are constantly hoping and expecting to be able to change before we reach the end of our journey through life.
For more content like this, please like, follow, and subscribe on your favorite social media platforms. And until next time, keep your eyes to the sky, your heart pure, and your mind open.
Invented in 1608 by Hans Lippershey, the telescope deepened our knowledge of the heavens above when Galileo Galilei finally began pointing them towards the sky in 1609. His skyward gaze assisted in the development of the heliocentric model and furthered our understanding of the known universe. After 173 years of watching, the first of the 3 new outer planets was discovered. Known as the generational planets, they signify the global, cultural, and societal elements connected to our being in life. Due to their slow orbits around the sun, they bestow their influences onto entire generations, epochs, eras, and eons. They help to usher in and destroy the developments, advancements, and achievements of humanity that further propel us into our future. They correlate to the stories that we record and share along with the technologies that we create to do so. They are experienced and expressed within our voices and our music as they help to identify and define what it means to be alive during a particular period in time. They help to shape the perspectives we have of our ancestors, history, parents, peers, institutions, and establishments. They subtly influence our way of life and the never-ending search for connection, meaning, and purpose in our existence. Uranus is the sudden, unexpected, and eccentric rebellious nature that dares to disrupt the norms. Neptune is the idealistic, imaginative, and deceptive spiritual nature that provides healing and insight. Pluto is the inevitable, destructive, and transformative purging nature that eliminates what is unnecessary and repressive. The relationships observed between the generational and personal planets found within a chart correlate to the unique and individualized influences that the outer planets manifest on the subject's experiences, expressions, being, and life.
For more content like this, please like, follow, and subscribe on your favorite social media platforms. And until next time, keep your eyes to the sky, your heart pure, and your mind open.
Discovered in 1781, Uranus is the first of the outer planets. It was originally named George after King George III of England. In 1850, astronomers renamed it Uranus after the Greek Titan and sky god. However, from the perspective of most astrologers, the planet displays qualities and attributes related more closely to the Greek Titan Prometheus. Uranus is the electric fire of molecular biology and evolution. It is the sudden and unexpected sparks of creative and destructive force that changes everything as we know it. Due to its evolutionary nature, Uranus is associated with liberation, sovereignty, rebellion, and revolution. It embodies the archetype of the mad scientist as it dares to push beyond the Saturnian limitations of the mind, body, spirit, and society. It envisions whole new worlds yet to be discovered and embraced as it seeks to explore every possible future that may lie ahead. Uranus is a masculine generational planet. Its orbit is 84 years and it spends approximately 7 years in each of the signs. It is the shared ruler of the fixed air sign of Aquarius. It is in its detriment in the fixed fire sign of Leo. It is exalted in the fixed water sign of Scorpio, and it is in its fall in the fixed earth sign of Taurus. Known as the Great Awakener, Uranus brings forth an innovative, imaginative, inclusive, and experimental influence that both demolishes and reshapes the established structures and patterns, thus resulting in radical changes within ourselves and the world. Uranus brings forth the possibility for new worlds through the interconnected evolution of the collective and the individual.
For more content like this, please like, follow, and subscribe on your favorite social media platforms. And until next time, keep your eyes to the sky, your heart pure, and your mind open.
Discovered in 1846, Neptune was the first planet to be discovered using only mathematical methods rather than observations. It was named after the Greek god of the sea, also commonly referred to as the fish god or drowned god. Neptune correlates to our insight, intuition, imagination, and spirituality. Its proclivity for escapism connects it deeply to the fantasies, dreams, nightmares, illusions, deceptions, and confusion that we have about ourselves, others, and the world. Neptune urges us to seek out, make sense of, and become inspired by the intangible, unimaginable, and unreal nature of our experiences and existence. It is the great teacher within our being that reveals to us the mysteries of life, as it connects us to our spiritual urges and impulses for enlightenment, mercy, and compassion through veiled mystique and glamour. Neptune is a feminine generational planet. Its orbit is 165 years, and it spends approximately 14 years in each sign. It is the shared ruler of the mutable water sign Pisces. It is in its detriment in the mutable earth sign Virgo. It is exalted in the cardinal water sign Cancer, and it is in its fall in the cardinal earth sign Capricorn. Neptune embodies the waters of life that bring forth light onto our journey through the world of substance. It is the heart of the world that beats steadily and burns brightly deep within all living beings. Neptune bestows the trinity of sacrifice, devotion, and love through the manifestation of the individual and collective Christ consciousness.
For more content like this, please like, follow, and subscribe on your favorite social media platforms. And until next time, keep your eyes to the sky, your heart pure, and your mind open.
Discovered in 1930, Pluto was named after the Roman god of the underworld. However, its archetypal nature correlates to all of the gods, goddesses, deities, and underworlds that are connected to the process of death, transformation, and rebirth, as it is the bringer of death and darkness to all life. Pluto is the planet of extremes. It drags that which hinders through the burning grounds of awareness, giving birth to consciousness as its influence expands and contracts upon life. Pluto is the invisible titanic force of destruction and devastation that is awaiting in the distant shadows to come and wipe away all that exists, leaving behind it only what is necessary for a new beginning and the potential for life. Pluto correlates to the obsessive compulsions that lead us to our own demise, as it is the power within mass media and propaganda that propels us towards the most terrifying of inevitabilities. Pluto is a masculine generational planet. Its orbit is 248 years and it spends approximately 20 years in each of the signs. It is the shared ruler of the fixed water sign Scorpio. It is in its detriment in the fixed earth sign of Taurus. It is exalted in the fixed fire sign of Leo. And it is in its fall in the fixed air sign of Aquarius. Pluto embodies the ancient principles of sacrifice and resurrection. It mercifully kills the ego so that new life may emerge triumphantly over death, as it opens and connects the individual to the primordial power within their own existence. Pluto sinks deeply into the ocean of life and passes through the gates of hell, only to then ascend back into the heavens as an instrument of spiritual will.
For more content like this, please like, follow, and subscribe on your favorite social media platforms. And until next time, keep your eyes to the sky, your heart pure, and your mind open.
Discovered in 1977, Chiron is classified as both an asteroid and a dwarf planet that orbits between Saturn and Uranus. It was named after the Greek Titan and king of the centaurs, Chiron, also known as the Wounded Healer. Chiron in Aries bestows the gift of self-discovery through personal power. Chiron in Taurus bestows the gift of generating gratitude through conservation. Chiron in Gemini bestows the gift of pursuing acknowledgement through knowledge and wisdom. Chiron in Cancer bestows the gift of learning to recognize and embrace unconditional love. Chiron in Leo bestows the gift of learning to inspire by standing out. Chiron in Virgo bestows the gift of practicing appreciation through compassion. Chiron in Libra bestows the gift of finding wholeness through self-respect. Chiron in Scorpio bestows the gift of becoming peaceful through vulnerability. Chiron in Sagittarius bestows the gift of discovering joy and wonder through the unknowable. Chiron in Capricorn bestows the gift of inner peace through creating order. Chiron in Aquarius bestows the gift of individuality through objectivity. Chiron in Pisces bestows the gift of equality through embodying oneness. Additionally, the house that Chiron occupies helps to determine where the zodiacal nature of the wound's expression is concentrated and experienced most frequently. However, the aspects that Chiron shares with the other planets in the chart and their conditions will also greatly influence and impact the cycle of the wound, as it will continually manifest and be experienced until the healing lessons are embraced and begin to be mastered. Chiron acts as the rainbow bridge between the lower and higher self. It teaches us to acknowledge and embrace the lessons we have learned from our wounds so that we may master them and share them with others along our individual and collective healing journey.
For more content like this, please like, follow, and subscribe on your favorite social media platforms. And until next time, keep your eyes to the sky, your heart pure, and your mind open.
The lunar nodes are the hypothetical points where the moon crosses the ecliptic. In astrology, the north and south node, also referred to as Rahu and Ketu, generally indicate our karmic patterns, life path, and the evolution of our spiritual journey. The lunar nodes are placed upon an axis that is shared across two signs. Working in tandem, the ascending node sets the direction and path of our journey, while the descending node tethers us to our origins and past. The north node represents what we are compelled to go after in life, what we need for growth, and our dharma. It is what we hunger to accomplish in life, yet simultaneously fear and struggle to succeed at. The south node represents what we inherently know within us, our fears and regrets of the past, and our karma. It is what we are most familiar with, yet simultaneously what we are insecure and afraid to let go of due to our fear of failure. The nodes also share their axis across two of the houses. Their placement within the houses will help to determine the combined areas and themes that are most likely to experience the archetypal expression and influence of the nodes in our life. It takes approximately 18.5 years for the lunar nodes to complete their backwards orbit through the zodiac, spending roughly 18 months in each of the signs and/or houses. The lunar nodes indicate where the eclipses take place throughout the year. The eclipses correlate to times of powerful transformative changes, endings and beginnings, and the rejuvenation of the mind, body, and soul. The lunar nodes are symbolized by the mythology and imagery of the dragon's head and the dragon's tail, correlating to the origins of our individual spiritual path along with the direction it takes us during our lifetime.
For more content like this, please like, follow, and subscribe on your favorite social media platforms. And until next time, keep your eyes to the sky, your heart pure, and your mind open.
Translated in Latin as to see, aspects refer to the angular relationships between the planets and other celestial bodies. There are two ways to classify the 5 major aspects, by sign and by degree. Aspects by sign are formed by planets separated by a set amount of signs. Conjunctions are formed by planets in the same sign. Sextiles are of the nature of Venus and are formed by planets separated by 2 signs. Squares are of the nature of Mars and are formed by planets separated by 3 signs. Trines are of the nature of Jupiter and are formed by planets separated by 4 signs. And oppositions are of the nature of Saturn and are formed by planets separated by 6 signs. Aspects by degree are when planets are separated by an approximated amount of degrees. The nearer to the degree, the stronger its influence. Conjunctions are formed by planets who are separated by approximately 0 degrees. Sextiles are formed by planets who are separated by approximately 60 degrees. Squares are formed by planets who are separated by approximately 90 degrees. Trimes are formed by planets who are separated by approximately 120 degrees. And oppositions are formed by planets who are separated by approximately 180 degrees. Each of the major aspects has its own unique meaning and significance. Conjunctions signify a blending of energies and can be either beneficial or challenging. Sextiles signify a supportive flow and can be a source of opportunity or potential. Squares signify a conflict or challenge and can be a source of tension or frustration. Trines signify a harmonious flow of energy and can be a source of great ease or good fortune. And oppositions signify tension and conflict and can be a source of frustration, challenge, and delay. The aspects of the planets provide insight into the nuanced dynamics of their relationship with us and the world, allowing us to unravel the great mysteries of life along our journey.
For more content like this, please like, follow, and subscribe on your favorite social media platforms. And until next time, keep your eyes to the sky, your heart pure, and your mind open.
In astrology, planetary conditions are determined by many factors. Beneficial conditions are referred to as bonifications, and negating conditions are referred to as maltreatments. In order to apply astrology as a practice, we must begin to analyze each planet's condition to fully reveal the condition of the entire chart. Essential dignity is established first by planets being placed under their sign of rulership, exaltation, detriment, or fall. Secondly, by the planet's reception. Reception is determined by examining the conditions and relationship between a planet and the planet that rules the sign it is placed under. This also may occur as a mutual reception. Accidental dignity is established primarily through planets being direct or in retrograde, followed by the types of aspects that are formed with the angles, benefics, and malefics found within the chart. Hard aspects refer to the squares and oppositions. Easy aspects refer to the sextiles and trines, while conjunctions are neutral aspects. The houses also contribute to planetary conditions. Houses 3, 4, 5, 7, 9, 10, and 11 are fortunate. Houses 2, 6, 8, and 12 are unfortunate, and the first house remains neutral. Another factor to examine is which planet has the most authority and command by overcoming the other planets, as it will lead and direct the flow of energy in the chart. A planet's proximity to the Sun also affects its condition. A planet under the beam of the Sun is slightly weakened and invisible to the naked eye. A combust planet is severely weakened and engulfed by the flames of the Sun. However, a planet in Cazimi is considered to be placed within the heart of the Sun, and therefore it is positively influenced. There are many other important factors to consider when analyzing the planetary conditions of a chart. Understanding them reveals insights into the commonly expressed themes and experiences of ourselves throughout our life.
For more content like this, please like, follow, and subscribe on your favorite social media platforms. And until next time, keep your eyes to the sky, your heart pure, and your mind open.
Who are you? Your story? The I am? The me? All of them? Or perhaps something else entirely? What is it that you strive to achieve in your own life? Why do you do any of the things that you do? Where are you taking yourself on your own journey? And how do you know? It's easy to forget the immense power that we all innately possess within ourselves. The mysteries of fate lead us into our existence while we seemingly have little to no control over the fortunes that find us, making it difficult for us to see and experience ourselves for what we truly are. We are free. We are the individual and we are the collective. We are spiritual beings sharing human experiences. Our individual and collective ability to choose our own paths in life far exceeds any of the limitations and challenges presented by our seemingly inescapable fate and fortune. Free will bestows upon us all the gifts of experience, knowledge, and wisdom. It allows us to reflect and to choose how to respond rather than simply reacting to life. It places us fully into the now as the one true self. Awakening ourselves to the truth of our own existence within the collective truth of all existence is no easy task. It requires love, cooperation, understanding, compassion, loyalty, discipline, power, and resilience. Astrology offers us a set of tools that, when studied, practiced, and applied to ourself and life, aids in unraveling the complexities of our individual and collective experiences, illuminating us to the shared patterns within all of existence while helping us to navigate ourselves through our own individual journey. We begin to take control of ourselves in our own life as we step fully into all of the power that is our own free will.
For more content like this, please like, follow, and subscribe on your favorite social media platforms. And until next time, keep your eyes to the sky, your heart pure, and your mind open.